Hello, can you hear me? Am I through your Bluetooth or something?
Hello?
Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes?
Awesome. Okay, I was asking if you could hear me. So I'm looking at your property on 1377 Marcia Road. It's been
Uh-huh.
listed for 160 days. What's going on?
It was under contract and the buyer's financing fell through.
Ah, okay. Okay. Would your seller be open to a creative situation like doing a subject to deal?
The subject of what?
A subject to deal? Do you know what that is?
Obviously not.
That's basically where I would take over their existing loan and pay them for their portion of their equity.
Nope.
Can you run that idea by them and see if they will?
I mean, I've run it by them in another way. I've had too many flippers and investors try to run it and buy it, and they're not doing it. They want to sell it and be done with it. They do not want someone to pay the note and get in there and fix it up. It
Well, it
is
doesn't.
actually
Yeah, it doesn't look like it needs to be fixed up. It looks like it's
well,
ready to be moved into.
water. It has had some water damage that is being fixed with an insurance claim, and we're just waiting on those contractors to come and repair it.
Ah,
But
okay.
they do not want to do anything outside of a traditional contract.
Okay. So a subject to, you said you didn't know what that was. So is there any way that I could get on the phone with you and your seller and talk to them about this? Because I mean, it's been on the market for 160 days. I think they're about ready to sell the property. And I know you're ready to make some money. So I don't see why having a conversation like that wouldn't be feasible when you would still get your commission and they would be done with the home.
I'm not worried about my commission. What I do know is that we have had multiple people send in offers for different amounts, different purchase prices. Some saying like you did, hey, we'll pay the note, we'll do this, we'll come in and we'll do some updates and blah. They don't want to do that. They want a traditional contract. They
Is
do not want to take any chances. They are not risk takers. They want a traditional
Yeah.
contract.
I mean, I don't see any kind of way that they would be taking a risk doing it the way that I'm saying. I don't think you're fully understanding what I'm pitching, and that's completely okay. I know a lot of the times it's kind of new at first and it raises a lot of questions. Basically, what
So
I would go ahead.
what are you pitching?
Basically, what I would do, just like you said, is take over their existing notes, pay them for their equity because I'm assuming they have a note on the house, right? And I'm assuming they have a little bit of equity. So if they sell the house, traditionally, they still have to pay off that note and they're still going to get a portion of their equity. What I'm saying is, let me just give you the money, get your sellers the money for their equity, and I'll pay on the note.
Okay, they've only been there 2 years. They don't have really any equity in the house.
So if they don't have any equity, if they sell it traditionally, then they might have to cut a check, right?
Possibly, yes, and they're willing to do that.
They can be willing to do that, but in my situation, they wouldn't have to cut a check at all. So I'd be saving them money.
It's theirs of them doing it that way.
So they'd rather cut a check than not cut a check and just walk
No
away?
equity in the house. What would you do that in the way you're pitching this? How would that benefit them?
Well, because you said that it's possible that they would have to cut a check. I'm saying they wouldn't.
Well, I mean, if it's possible, but it's very slim. They'll probably break even.
So, I mean, probably break even versus definitely having to write a check.
Okay, let me ask you something. If they had to write a check for $500, that would not really be any big deal, correct?
I mean, me personally, if I had the choice to cut a check for $500 or not cut a check at all, I wouldn't cut a check.
But you still haven't told me how it benefits them.
They
How
do
does
they do
it?
not have to cut a check.
Okay,
and they're able to sell their house and walk away.
For just a minute, so that we can both understand this, because I'm kind of in a time crunch right now, and I'm driving in the rain. Let's say, for kicks and giggles, that you buy that property, that they agree to your deal, and they have maybe $500 in equity in that house. Let's call it $1,000 equity in that house. Maybe you would give them $1,000 and pay their note.
Absolutely.
But how does that benefit them? They still own the house.
Well, they don't own the house. The house would be deeded over to me.
Well,
The note would remain in their name.
Do that. They're not going to do that.
So are they worried about the note being in their name? What fears do they have?
Pardon me?
I said, what fears do they have? Are they worried about a note being in their name?
To purchase another house.
Yeah, so what happens is I can go through a servicing company. So when they go to another mortgage company to get approved for another loan, that servicing company will show them a piece of paperwork that they're not responsible for that debt anymore. So it'll come off of their debt to income ratio. So then they'll still be able to apply and get a new mortgage just with a piece of paperwork from our servicing company. And also they will know and be protected, like, hey, we get a message every month saying from the servicing company that our loan is being paid on. And it also helps their credit. I don't know what their credit is, but another performing loan on their credit in their name, all that goodness is coming to them when they don't have to do anything but walk away.
This is what I can tell you that you can do. If you would like to write up some type of contract and offer them that, I'm more than happy to show that to them.
Okay, I mean, would they be... I don't want to take the time to write up a contract if it's something that they don't want. You're saying that it's not feasible. I would much rather get on the phone with you and them and talk to them that way. Because if I just put it on a piece of paper, there's going to be a lot of questions that they'll have that simply a piece of paper isn't going to answer.
Are you a real estate agent?
I am not. I'm an investor.
Okay. Well, legally, anything that's written up as a contract for a property that I have listed, I have to show it to my client, and I have to go over it to them with them. Now, they may talk to someone then, which they would actually talk to their financial advisor about it, I would assume, because that's what they do on all the contracts that have been offered to them. And they would go over it, and he would tell the ins and outs of it, and the pros and the cons, and then he and I would talk about it. So,
Well, is there any way I can get all of you, the financial advisor, and your sellers all together for a conversation?
they're not going to do anything unless they can look at it on paper and get their financial advisor and myself to go over every bit of it with them.
So,
That's the type of people they are. That's why I said they're not risk takers.
so what would you like to see? What do you think your sellers would like to see?
What do you mean, what would they want to see?
You said it needs to be on paper for them to know. So what do they want to see?
Do you not have a real estate agent that represents you?
No, I don't work. I would go directly through you.
Okay.
I would have you write for me. You can get double commissions, however you want to go about it.
No,
I have my own paperwork that I use, so I can definitely write it up and present it to you. But like I said, I don't want to take the time out of my day to do that for something that is not going to be accepted.
Okay. I mean, that's fine. I mean, I don't have a problem with that, but that's what you would have to do.
Okay, so back to my original question. What would you guys like to see on paper? Because if I just put basic terms of a subject to transaction, you guys won't understand that. So that's why I kind of want to get you guys on the phone and have that conversation with you all together.
Going to operate, and this is how you present offers. You're going to have some very good verbiage in a contract that is very explicit and that can be understood by all parties. You can't
we would be using your contract if we went under contract. We would be using your state approved contract. I would have addendums in there.
Not have those types of terms.
Yeah. We would use your contract, and we would just use certain addendums for a subject to transaction. Does that make sense? So we would still be using your contract, but there'd be addendums tied to that.
Well, I mean, I don't know tell you. You would have to have someone write that up for you exactly how you want it, and then I could present it to them.
Can I not write it up myself?
Sure, you can.
Okay. Well, can I have you write it for me?
I represent the seller.
Okay. So do you not do dual representation? You're.
I can, but I'm not loyal to you. I mean, if that's the case, I have no loyalty to you. My loyalty is to my seller.
Yeah, and absolutely as it should. You should.
Want an agent that is loyal to you.
So me personally, numbers are loyal to me. I don't need somebody who's pulling for me in my corner. I just want to present the information to them, and then they can make the decision. Your loyalty lies with them, and that's how it should be. You shouldn't be loyal to me. I'm just another investor who picked up the phone. I just think that this situation, given that there's no equity in the home and that they might have to write a check to get you paid and take the burden of this house off both of your plates, I think it's a win-win situation for everybody involved.
Well, I mean, you can think that. That's fine, but what I'm telling you is, if you would like to make an offer, you would have to have someone write that up and send it over, and I will present it to you.
How's that? So can you write it up for me?
I cannot.
Okay, so back to my other question. What would they like to see? Do they just want to see bullet points with how it's going to work? Do they want to see a whole packet explaining A to Z how a subject to transaction is going to work? How exactly would you guys like to see it?
They would have to, I mean, if you've got a basic contract or whatever that you're going to write it on, if you're going to write it on a paper towel, I don't know. But you would have to be very explicit as to how what type of transaction you're talking about.
So do you not think that would be...
You're asking for information, one, that I don't know, because I have no idea what their equity is, because that changes on a monthly basis. And so basically you're asking to be giving information that they don't necessarily have to give you.
Do you not think that would be an easier conversation between all of us than simply just giving them a piece of paper where you and your sellers don't know exactly what it is?
Well, here's the thing. If it's not written, it's probably not going to happen, and you're not going to be able to stand by that. So it has to be written out.
Oh, it'll definitely get written out after we have that conversation, and they're like, yeah, this is something that makes sense to me. Because if I take the time and write it out and send it to them, they're going to look at it and have no idea what they're looking at. Whereas if we had a conversation first and I explain to them what they're going to see in paper and then send that paper over to them, it's going to make a lot more sense.
I don't know.
Okay. Well, if things hit the fan, if you can't find a traditional seller, or if they even have to cut a check for $5,000 or what have you, give me a call. I'd love to pay your commission and make sure that they walk away with at least $0 instead of cutting a check.
All right.
All right. Bye-bye.